Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of In the Hot Seat. Today, I am so happy to be sitting down with the extraordinary, the talented Yogi Laser. Good afternoon, Yogi, and how are you?
Good afternoon, and I just want to say good afternoon to everyone tuning in. I'm pretty
Absolutely.
fine, happy to be with you, Vania.
Yes, hi.
I think you're a very special person doing a special job for Montserrat, and I
Thank
really adore
you.
you for doing that.
Thank you very much. And it's an absolute privilege to be finally sitting down with you because I know that this has been a long time in the making. But before we jump into the conversation, I just want to give a quick shout out to my sponsors, Silk Cotton Villa, and then we'll find out everything that we need to know about you, the fantastic Yogi Laser. So just bear with me one moment.
Welcome to paradise,
Okay.
where tranquility meets luxury. Welcome to Silk Cotton Villa, your sanctuary for ultimate relaxation. Nestled on 1.3 acres of lush land, this 5,000 square foot, multi-story home boasts elegance and comfort at every turn. Ascend to the upper level and discover a 32 feet by 15 feet swimming pool, beckoning you to soak up the Caribbean sun while admiring breathtaking sunsets from the expansive deck. With 5 spacious bedrooms accommodating up to 10 guests, 4.5 bathrooms, 2 living rooms, and a kitchen fit for a gourmet chef, Silk Cotton Villa offers ample space for you and your loved ones to unwind and create unforgettable memories. Immerse yourself in the serene ambiance as you enjoy the soothing sounds of your favorite songs streaming through Sonos speakers in every room, all seamlessly controlled by Alexa automation. Just a stone's throw away lies Woodlands Beach, and when it's time to depart, the airport is a mere 16-minute drive away, ensuring convenience from start to finish. Escape the ordinary and embrace the extraordinary at Silk Cotton Villa. Take your first step towards paradise by visiting Verbo.com or Airbnb.com and searching Silk Cotton Villa. Your blissful retreat awaits.
So thank you so much, guys, for sitting through our sponsorship video there. We are sponsored by Silk Cotton Villa, which is my brother's fantastic villa right here in Woodlands, Montserrat. So guys, if you're just tuning in now, I want to start by saying a humble apology for our late start today. I know that we're usually on time, but unfortunately we had some technical difficulties, but obviously we are still going to plow through and make sure that Mr. Yogi Laser has a good time on In the Hot Seat. So again, Mr. Laser, how are you?
Well, I'm very, very, very happy to be here with you. So I'm feeling good. What about you?
I'm absolutely fantastic. It's a pleasure to sit down with Montserratians who are doing their thing internationally. And I know that you're someone who is a Guinness World Record holder, a Hollywood superstar, and much more. So today we're going to delve into everything Yogi Laser. But before I start the conversation, one of the first things I always do on In the Hot Seat is to really find out a little bit about your Montserrat connection, because everybody wants to know where you originate from in Montserrat, who you're related to, and all of that good stuff. So tell us a little bit about you and your family.
Well, I'm originated and born in a village in the heart of Montserrat, in the center of Montserrat called Molyneux, in which we call Trenchtown, you know, because of its root and culture. I am from parents of Florence Greenaway, better known as Sophie, that's my mom, and Linton Greenaway. And they are my parents. My sisters is Elvina and Elnora, and I have Mary and Jane, who is deceased, and my brother, known as Sonny Money. Sonny.
So you guys have fancy names in your family, which kind of leads me really nicely into, so obviously your government name is Kenneth Greenaway,
Yeah.
but where did the name Yogi Laser come from?
Well, as a man think it's so easy, you know, and it was the point in my life that I wanted to be an entertainer because of the hardship I was seeing in Montserrat and what I was visualizing through my family and stuff like that. So I call myself patriot because I love my country so much. I love Montserrat so much that I want to serve it with dignity. So I call myself patriot because I want to be a patriot. And that was through Calypso, starting out in the Calypso arena. And I met a man who is a musician who was in a band named Mantis. So I told him my name was Patriot. And he said, somebody already had that name. And I think we have a name that we want to give to someone. And I think you should be Laser.
Okay.
So I asked him, well, what laser mean? So he said, light, you know. But I didn't really want to take the name because I wanted to be a patriot. But when I go home, I look up the name Laser. You have two different spelling, L-A-Z-E-R and L-A-S-E-R. So I look up L-A-Z-E-R and he was talking about a dreaded disease like leprosy. So I went back to Randy Green and I said, hey, I want to stick with Patriot. So he asked me, what happened? So I said, well, I don't know, but it seemed like it mean like a dreaded disease. So he asked me, what spelling you look up? He said, L-A-S-E-R. And he said, it means light. And it's something that scientists and people use, the powerful light, you know what I mean? And then I accept the name right away because a vibration struck me in the head, which is a vibrational thought, spiritual thought, and told me, you don't remember you were praying to God to be a light unto your country, your family, and the world? Just like that. So I said, wow. I said, yeah. So then I accept the name. And then I just found that a great vibration come on me to seek the light, and I find myself doing all kind of amazing stuff. A yoga contortion.
That's great. So let's jump into how you became a yogi, where it all started. So yoga is not something, even for me personally, I didn't really experience yoga when I was living in Montserrat. I became more familiar with yoga when I migrated to the UK. So who introduced you to yoga and contortion and being able to twist and turn your body in the ways that you can? Because like I said, that's not something that we're familiar with in Montserrat, maybe let alone the region. So where did it all begin for you?
It's very spiritual. So I would say the Almighty Creator introduced me to yoga because I was doing yoga before I even know what it was. What really happened is that during the time when they just have break dancing come out, so you all come to dancing also. I have a cousin named Solid Gold who used to be a very good dancer, beating up all the guys in town during the breakdancing era. So
Okay.
I wanted to really beat him, you know. So one day we was at a bar in Molyneux, David Daniel Bar. That's where we all started, and we were all battling each other. So then, just a spiritual thought, a vibration of thought, say, man, just do a split. Another one said, put one foot over the head. So I went on to do a split and put one foot over the head. And David, everybody was going crazy because they never ever see that in their life. That's why I say it's like dancing and the Almighty Creator, because I didn't even know what it was. Then when I went home, I started thinking about it. I said, wow, it seems like I have something here. You know, so I started practicing on my own. And that's when I went to sing Calypso. And the first time I sing Calypso, I didn't make it out of the man house, and Tabu was there, and I showed Tabu what I was doing, and he went to the finals that year, and he told me to dance for him. So
Okay.
when I danced for him, when I was putting one foot over the head, when he was singing Punk Rock Fever, you remember that song? Yeah. Someone was in the audience, two guys, one named Daddy and one named Obia. They're from St. John's. And about 2 weeks after, they met me at my friend Dub in Molyneux's house, and saw me and said, "Hey, you're the guy that was doing the thing with Tabu?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Man, what you're doing is yoga." This is when I know it was yoga. He said, "What you're doing is yoga, and we have a book."
Okay.
And they told me they would lend me the book. And they lent me the book, and they were saying the book was teaching you about knowing the creator, But they tell me, just look at the pictures because you're already doing it anyway. And I read the book, and it brings me enlightenment and take me all over the world.
That is fantastic. So it's interesting to note that you became aware of yoga here in Montserrat, and that was literally by chance. But the other question is, do you think, because obviously you said that performance with the breakdancing, you were already able to do the splits and you were already able to put your foot over your head. Like that is not something that I think I am capable of just naturally doing.
Yeah.
Even if I wanted to. Like, seriously. So do you think that there's a natural ability there as well? Were you always flexible as a child, or was this something after receiving the book that you then practice the moves and then that increase your flexibility? Which came first, the flexibility or the book?
Well, I already have the ability. This is the flexibility. But I didn't have the theory of what I was doing because I didn't know it was yoga. So I think it was already there in me, and I think it was divine intervention, like the creator blessed me with this talent and guide me through this path, meeting these people so that it can be revealed to me, So when I get the book now, that's when I start reading the book and start understanding what it is. Then I change the way I live, and everything just start opening up. I become more wise. I become more flexible. So it's all a training also. So it was the foundation. I had it, but getting the book inspired me to go further.
Okay, so you spoke a little bit about training there, but can you describe what your training regimen is and the type of discipline that is required to maintain not only the flexibility, but also the strength? What goes into being able to do what you do? Because there's some of us who, like, for example, we have Emmy who hosts yoga classes here on the island and stuff like that. But I still don't think any of us are able to take it to the level that you have. So what else goes into not only training your body, but also training your mind to be able to flex the way that you do?
Yoga is a meditation and a science of yourself and the universe. So I have to have a proper diet, positive thinking, and exercise. And I have to be disciplined towards them. Before I get the book, I used to eat meat and stuff like that. But when I get the book, I stop eating meat. So I go on the plant kingdom for life, which carries a higher vibration. So by being a vegetarian, I was able to advance even more quicker. And mind also is more stable as a vegetarian. You don't have a rational mind. You're able to calm your mind and focus through meditation. And everything just opens up to you. So it's all about diet, positive thinking, and proper exercise. And you have to be disciplined that is constant, repetitive. And the more you're repetitive, is the better you get, both physically, spiritually, and mentally.
So obviously, as a meat eater, and I've actually been trying to go slowly towards the vegetarian route, but what is it in the meat that causes us to be inflexible or unable to be able to tap into that mental side, not just for the flexibility, for that positivity and the harmony within our spirit that you're referring to.
Okay. I don't want to make anyone scared thinking that, oh, I cannot do yoga if I eat meat. Anyone can do yoga by eating anything at all. But to advance and to go deeper spiritually, mentally, and physically, it's best to be on a vegetarian diet. But it's all an evolution. So we take people to where they're at. Because I'm a teacher, so I have to take my student at the vibration that they are, and then let them grow and flourish and bear fruit. You see, so it's all about, connecting to your source, which is life, the breath. Because the breath is the foundation of yoga. It calms the mind, it's also the healer, so when you connect to the breath, you connect to your source. So you have to connect to your source to elevate the mind and light up the chakras, which is the energy centers of the body, to go further and delve deeper into it. But anyone can do yoga. You start where you're at. And yoga, the motto of yoga is that you stretch for life. It's all about stretching for more life, to complete the circle of life, for healthier body, healthier mind, love, and harmony.
Very, very, very interesting. So, what would you say is the difference between yoga and contortion? Is there a major difference, or why would you say that some people are contortionists and some people are yogi contortionists? What is the major difference between the two?
Well, the major difference between the two is that as a contortionist, you just have a flexibility and doing flexible stuff. But as a yoga, it comes with the three: mind, body, and spirit connection. It delves deeper into the science of who you are, what you're made up of, and who created you, and to flow with it. And it also goes of how you live your life also, because how you live your life is also a practice of yoga. To live your life, treat people the way you want to be treated, spread love. So it's a little different because yoga is more spiritual and more subtle. Most people who do contortion is more back bending, but yoga is all different angles of the body. So it's a little different.
Okay. So obviously you mentioned at the start of the conversation that the person who really allowed you to go out there and express yourself in front of an audience was Taboo, which is interesting to note. But I also know that one of your first major appearances was at the amateur night at the famous Apollo Theatre in Harlem, which is a feat in itself. So how did you take your yoga contortion from Montserrat to America? How did you make that transition?
Well, after performing in Montserrat, Montserratian coming home from America, and I'm talking about Ozzy Blue. Ozzy Blue saw me and see what I was doing, and he told me, man, what you're doing there, you can make a living doing that even on the streets in America. That's what he said to me. And walkathon also. And another guy also, And as he told me, man, all you gotta do is just go and get your visa and come, and I can stay with him. So that's what I did. And when I went there, I used to stay with Ozzy, and Ozzy was the one that took me to Apollo Theatre. And that was my first start on television, and it was a great experience because I won on the first night, because that was something new. Nobody ever seen nothing like what I was doing, and that was just the start of my evolution in America and abroad.
Fantastic. And it's so encouraging to hear that a fellow Montserratian, Ozzy Blue, who's also a Calypsonian here on the island, amongst other things, it's really great to see that he was the one who encouraged you. So he started off with the guys encouraging you at the yoga book. And then Ozzy took you to the next stage by bringing you to America, and not just taking you to any stage, to the Apollo Theater, where comedians and everybody would literally give their life to perform. And I also know that the Apollo Theater, the crowd is very harsh.
Yeah.
So how did you feel? Obviously, you had something unique that you were bringing to the stage, but how did you feel in that moment taking your act internationally?
It was a dream come true for me because that's what I was dreaming about. I was dreaming about serving the world. So at that very moment, I see my dream unfolding right before my very eyes. So I was very happy to do it, you know, and it was really, really a great feeling because I know I have work to be done because I have to live the dream and what I prayed for, you know. And as it was my first start, and a guy by the name of Moonshine was the first one to take me to the streets.
Okay.
It was.
So even that is quite interesting as well, because for those who are tuned in, and obviously we can't expect everybody to know who you are because this is a regional platform as well. So what I want to do is to show you guys a little bit of Yogi Laser in action. This is him performing for CBS, and then we'll jump back into the questions. That is the Yogi contortionist, Yogi Laser in action there for CBS. So you've also performed and appeared on other shows like the David Letterman Late Show, Good Day New York, and others. But what I want to find out though is obviously you started with your act. The first thing that you did was to put the splits and put your first leg over your head.
Yeah.
But when did it elevate to the box? When did you add the box to your show?
Okay.
And how did you come up with that concept?
I come up with that concept by I met some guys in New York City named the Calypso Tumblers, a group of guys. So there are times that when we get shows that we combine the two act together, which they let me perform with them. So we went to Denver, where I met another contortionist, and he had the box doing. And I said, wow, I think I can do that. And the leader of the Calypso Tumbler, which was Alex Barkley, he said, man, you got to get one of these. You got to get a box. And then he also had a cylinder. And I saw him getting the cylinder. And I said, so you got to get the cylinder too. So I get the box and I also get the cylinder. And then I practice to see how small can I go. Because he's taller than me, so I can go into a smaller box than him. You know, and from there, it just elevate through acting with the box, because going inside the box is not entertaining, is what I do before I go inside there, and the acting and everything that comes together that compact the show, you know, the facial expressions, you know, and everything. So it all starts there. That's where the box come from, in Denver, doing a busker fest with the Calypso Tumblers.
Interesting. And then the other important point there as well is, like you said, it's not just about the box, or it's not just about your physical ability. It's also about your ability to entertain.
Right.
So yes, you can get into the box because of your flexibility, but how did you put the entire show together? Because it's almost like a comedic act as well.
It is.
Is this something that you would practice at home before you take it on the street, practice in front of friends before you take it on the street? Or is it also something that developed organically on the street?
For me, every show is a practice, and every show comes with inspiration. Because every time I go out there and perform, when I come home, I'm always thinking about ideas. How can I be better? How can I do this better? You know, what can I say to them to make they laugh more, you know, and things like that. So it's every show. Every show is a practice. Every show is an experience. So it evolved from every show. Because sometimes you may do something and the audience react to that more, you know. And then you give them what they want. So you look for the most unique act that would, you know, amaze the minds of people, because it's all psychological. I am trying to amaze their mind at all times, you know, and that's why I'm amazing, because I think amazing. How can I amaze the mind? So it's all psychological.
Mm-hmm. So then also you mentioned the box and you have the cylinder, but you also have what looks like stilts. So when did that come into the equation? Balancing on those two sort of poles as well.
Oh,
You have to constantly.
coming to the occasion.
Everyone's recording.
What time? Arrow, mighty Arrow. I was supposed to do a tour with him, so I wanted to brought one of the guys from the Calypso Tumbler, because he usually throw me up in the air, and I do it on top of his hands. So he say, you could do it on some sticks. You can do that yourself with some stick, arrow.
Okay.
You know, so, and then I went and get this guy by the name of Clyde. Clyde, they call him Smiley. He's from the South. It's a contractor, Weird son. He's the one that built the box for me first, and he said he can build the cylinder out of wood. So he get some flexible plywood, and he built the box and the cylinder for me, and then I start practicing. So that's how everything unfolded.
It's so interesting because there's so many key characters. So many local people who played a fundamental role
right
in your act, because obviously
in my life too.
So obviously you mentioned Ozzy Blue took you to the Apollo Theatre, and then if it wasn't for Arrow saying, well, you don't need those guys, you can figure out a way to do it on your own, that elevated your act as well. But this brings us nicely onto the fact that on the set of the Guinness World Records Unleashed in Los Angeles on the 27th of June 2013, you won the Guinness World Record for the fastest time to cram yourself into a box which measured 20 inches by 20 inches by 17.5 inches by a male. You completed it in the fastest time. What went into that? Because it's one thing when you're doing the act, for example, and you're putting yourself in the box and you're trying to be comedic and entertaining. So how did you take it up to the next level to do it quickly?
Everything got to be the mind, the way you think, So my thinking is that I want to get this. I want to get this for Montserrat, and I want to get this for me. I want to have a record. And I'm always practicing with the box. So I'll be practicing in the box and connecting with myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. So I got to be in one with myself. I know my ability. I know which is the easiest way and the fastest way to get inside the box. Now, there's only one way I can fit in the box, and that is in the fetus position, like when I was a baby inside the womb. So I got to place my mind back to when I was a baby and focus on how can I get back into there like a womb very quickly, although it's tight, So this all come with practice. So I practice before I go there, and then when I go there, there are certain little vibration that I do, meditation that I do to center myself so I have no distraction and to do it on time. So it's all about connecting with yourself through mental experience.
That's interesting, but I hear all of that and that sounds fantastic. But not only did you break the record, the first person who had done it, who held the record, did it in 9 seconds, but you did it in 5.35 seconds, which is almost half of 9. What does that title mean to you? And especially coming from a small island like Montserrat, because winning a Guinness World Record is not a simple feat. So how did you even build up the courage to even attempt to do that in the first place? Was it someone that recommended you? Did you apply yourself? How does the Guinness World Record thing work?
Well, it comes through an agent. An agent contacted me when I was in Thailand and told me that they want me to break this record with the box, So that's how it started. And I wanted to do this, as I said, for Montserrat and myself and the world, because it was a dream for me, So that's how it come about.
You've also gone, sorry guys, so you've also gone on to audition for things like America's Got Talent and stuff like that. But one of the things that's also interesting about your career is that you were in a Hollywood film called Zohan. So tell us a little bit about that, and was that through an agent as well?
Yeah, it was through an agent. I had to go and audition for it, and Adam Sandler, which is the star of the movie, he liked what I did, so he chose me, and it was another dream come true for me, because when I was here in Montserrat, just aspiring to be something great, I said to myself that one day I'm going to be in Hollywood for the things that I've been doing with myself. And so when that opportunity comes, I know that was the time. So I was really happy, that they chose me and to do some acting. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great time in my life, because the way I was treated like a real Hollywood star, top Hollywood star, Pick me up in a limo, drive first class on the airplane. And the experience on the set was totally amazing because it was in the heart of Hollywood, right where I aspired to be. So it was a great accomplishment for me. And to know I come from small Montserrat, they say we small, but we talawa. Montserrat small, but it's an amazing place. And to be an amazing man from an amazing place, it really means a lot to me to really, do this for Montserrat and myself.
Absolutely. So you mentioned there that it really elevated you. You're experiencing first class, you're driving in limos and stuff like that. But how did acting in a Hollywood film impact your career and your personal growth as a performer?
It just enhanced it because I was already acting in the street and on TV before I been there. But when being on Hollywood film set, it's a great experience because you know, a lot of emotions kicked in and you want to do your best. You know what I'm saying? So after that, I feel proud of myself. So I go on to do shows all parts of the world. You know, amazing people at all times. There's never one time that I have a bad show. Every show I do, people are always amazed by what I do. So I just keep growing and growing and growing. And I come back to Montserrat and really show my gratitude to support Montserrat by investing in Montserrat with my earnings.
Fantastic. And speaking of Montserratians, in 2015, you received an award from the Emerald Isle Creative Vibes Organization of New York. And you also performed at that event as well. So how does it feel? Because obviously it's one thing to be appreciated by Hollywood and everybody else and all the amazing things and places you've been to. But how does it feel to be recognized by your fellow Montserratians?
It makes me proud to be a Montserratian. So I was feeling very good to be honored by Montserratians abroad. And I hope that one day it would happen on island because I never had an award in Montserrat for what I did. So it really feels they say a prophet has no honor in his own country, but I don't want him to wait till I die to give me flowers, you know, because everything I do with Montserrat in mind. So it was very, very, very a pleasure for me to be honored by Montserratians abroad.
Well, that's one of the questions that I have for you as well, because obviously I recognize that, and from doing my research for the interview, I realized that you've performed literally all over the world. One of the things that I don't see is I don't see you performing here in Montserrat. There's loads of opportunities to perform, even during like the Christmas festival, the St. Patrick's festival, and things like that, or even as we're welcoming tourists on cruise ships, for example. So why haven't you been performing locally, especially after you've been a street busker?
Well, I have not been approached to do it. I've been approached a few times in the festivals, but it's not a regular thing, you know. So it's something like that. Because it's not regular, then it look like I didn't do nothing. But I think that our people need to recognize that I am a true valuable man to Montserrat and I have valuable to express for Montserrat. So they should involve me more in commercials and different things for Montserrat. For example, I think there should be a photo at the airport of Yogi Laser and, you know, get me more involved in more things so that I can promote Montserrat. You know, because when you promote me, you promote Montserrat. So I'm asking the people here in Montserrat to really look at me, look at what I'm doing, and take me seriously because as a man, think it's so easy, and everything that I'm doing is in the interest of me, Montserrat, and the world.
So one thing that one might ask is, it's one thing to say that, you know, tourism or the government or whoever should recognize you, but there's also nothing stopping you from putting on your own show. So why have you never put on your own show here on the island, maybe collaborate with other performers and stuff like that to host a variety show, or even to a cruise ship is coming in, you're aware that they're coming, say for example, Jeans for Freedom is coming in with 400 people. Why not go to Little Bay and perform? Is that something that you're unwilling to do?
Well, because Montserrat is such a small place, you know, I think the best way for us to do this is at the cultural center. I think that the tourism department should collaborate, not only me, but other talents of Montserrat and have a show for tourists when they come. Like they come in and they have enough time they pay to see a show, not just bringing them just to see a dead, buried city. You know, they're supposed to come in and spend money, you show them, or we have a show here. We're supposed to have different activities. And one of them should be the culture of Montserrat, the talent of Montserrat, not just only me, but a collaboration. We can have a show at the cultural center for tourists when they come here.
And sorry, continue.
And this is something that they need to look into. It's not just me. is about us Montserratians. We need to sell our talent to the world and start being laid back. You know, we need to think of be more creative. We are not creating, we are more following. So we need to create. So if the tourism department is hearing me right now, what I want them to do, or MAC, is to, collaborate some acts of Montserrat, great acts of Montserrat. And I'm one of them, one unique, because I still can do my stuff, which is very impressive for the age I am now. So if they can collaborate us to create a great show for tourists when they come here, then when they see a great culture of talented people performing, then they can go back and tell other people, oh, wow, when I went to Montserrat, I see this great show. So that encourages people to more come to Montserrat. We have to attract people to come to Montserrat. We have to be more active in trying to embrace more people to come to Montserrat. And this is what's going to help us to be economically strong, because right now we're economically stagnant, and we're stagnant is because of the way we are thinking. We are thinking too dependent. We need to think independent. What can we do for ourselves? How can we make money for Montserratians? And this is the way we need to think going forward. I think this is a election year, so we need politicians to get involved also to promote Montserrat culture and not let it die, because we are at the brink of extinction. So this is a serious year, and we need to start thinking independently. Because when you think independently, that's how you get independence. We don't need to have independence from England to think independently. We can now think independently. You know what I'm saying? To know that we can create. Because Montserrat is a very creative place. It's full of resources and it's full of great talent that we can show to the world. And if we can come together, unite, and do this, elevate each other, if we can do this instead of trying to pull each other down, that's only when we're going to see Montserrat progress. Montserrat cannot progress if Montserratians are not progressing here. We need our people back. This is another thing. We need more Montserratians to come back to Montserrat and start investing in Montserrat. Because you can overbrand, oh, we don't got nothing there. What did you put here? You have to put something here to have something here. You know what I'm saying? So we need to start thinking independent and start doing something for Montserrat. It's a beautiful place and very talented, loving people. It's just a psychological structure in our mind that needs a shift.
Yeah,
to think independently. Thinking independently.
Because for me, one of the things that I encounter a lot, especially because of my platform, especially during Christmas and St. Patrick's, is a lot of complaining. And I always say to people, if there is something in Montserrat that is missing, it's down to us to put it there, right? So there's no point you being in the diaspora or somewhere else saying, oh, Montserrat ain't got this, Montserrat ain't got that, so I can never return. We have a very small population. So in order for us to have things here, it requires someone to put it here. And not just the government. Right. The government can't provide everything. They have a limited budget. But then going back to the point that you made, for me, like, no offense to the masquerade, right? Masquerade is great. But I also think that we've got stuck. We've almost placed ourselves in a box. No pun intended, because you're always in a box. But the fact that we've created this box for ourselves. So if there's tourists coming, we put on some masquerades and that's just supposed to entertain them. But it really frustrates me when we have people who are really good at singing. We have local bands. We may have untapped talent as it relates to comedy and stuff like that. And we also have a Guinness World Record holder in yourself. And we're not shining a light on you for whatever reason. So for me, it's really like, stop being so mediocre. Let's, right. Like you said, let's think outside of the box. The tourists are coming off. It's down to us to create a package of products and package of things for them to do when they get on the island, because what you don't want them to do is to leave the island and say, there was nothing for me to do. I was so bored. And to be honest, on Saturday, I saw people just wandering around the island. If we had tailored activities for them to do, then they would have walked away from there. I'm sure if people saw you performing, that is something to go back and talk about. So the next time someone's coming over from Guadeloupe, they're going to start requesting Yogi Laser, you know? So it's really about thinking about those wow factors, and not only just thinking about people are visiting the island. So yes, we have 400 people that arrived on the island, but what was their experience like, right? So that's the point that I was really trying to pull out here, because I agree with you. I think sometimes here in Montserrat, we don't want to elevate people because we think, oh, Yogi Laser went to America, his Guinness World Record, he made all of this money. But we have to invest in Montserratians and empower Montserratians and lift them up. Because when you go to the other islands, you spoke about your first name, which was Patriot. And that strikes because you're a patriotic person. You're someone who loves where you come from. But we have to start loving each other, embracing each other. If you see a Jamaican, if a Jamaican's doing anything anywhere, every Jamaican is behind that person. But we're almost the opposite here. Here we want to dumb that person down and make them shrink as much as possible. And that is not working. So if that has not been working, when are we going to change things around and start empowering the people? It's absolutely ridiculous for us to have a Guinness World Record holder, a man that can put himself in a box, and you come here and you don't know anything about him. And I'm not just saying that because you're on the show, but it's a fact, you know? So I hope that someone from tourism is listening. I know that there's going to be a new tourism board and all of this stuff, but there is more to Montserrat than just masquerade. There is more to Montserrat than just bringing people in and having a few vendors down by the beach and saying, this is all we have to offer. There is so much talent here, and it's up to us to think outside of the box, no pun intended, and start getting creative and to change our mindset and get back to the point where we were creating number ones here on the island, to the point where we started Leeward Islands air transport, to the point where we were innovators. So where is that mindset? Where has that gone?
I think it went somewhere and we need to find it and bring it back here. So thank you very much for having something like this, because this could be a start for we, you know, reaching out to Montserratians home and abroad, telling them that it's time for us to elevate each other. It's time for us to invest in Montserrat. Because if we don't invest in Montserrat, Montserrat cannot be a place you want to come to if you don't invest in it. You know what I'm saying? So stop the fear, because fear is what really distracts you. Don't be afraid. Montserrat is beautiful and it's full of resources. Yes, we have a volcano, that's a plus. Don't be afraid of it. We just have to learn how to live with it, you know? Learn how to gather our resources and sell it to the world. And we will see a better Montserrat. For us, we got to start now for the future generations to come. Because right now, Montserratians is at the brink of extinction. And if our leaders don't take heed in this next election, which is to look for the people of Montserrat and the island, which is the land. That's your biggest resource. It's your foundation. And if we cannot start from foundation, we cannot build Montserrat. You cannot build a house from the roof come down. You build it from the foundation. So we need to start elevating our people. We need to start taking care of the island Montserrat, because it's full of resources, but we are acting like we are blind to it and we are not being creative.
Absolutely. And speaking of like putting your money where your mouth is, and speaking about you can't build a house from the roof down and building a firm foundation, obviously you're someone who has returned from the diaspora and you've actually invested with your beautiful villa. So tell us a little bit about your villa. I'll put some photos up now. Tell us why you decided to invest in the villa here on the island, and obviously, add to the accommodation stock that we have here on the island. Tell us a little bit about that while we show the pictures.
Well, I see a need for housing in Montserrat. You know, if we are to bring people to Montserrat, we have to have places so that they can have a good time and that they can feel relaxed, that they can enjoy the island and encourage other people to come. So I see a need for housing, so I go into investing in apartments for short-term rent. And also, I am a yoga teacher, so I would like people to come to Montserrat and practice yoga here with me, you know, because apart from entertaining, I'm a certified yoga teacher. So my vision is to encourage people from all parts of the world to come to Montserrat. I know that they can relax here because Montserrat is a very good place for yoga because it's so quiet, it's so beautiful, and the energy here is so strong. When you breathe of the air of Montserrat, it's so fresh, full of energy, full of oxygen, you know, it's pure. So, here me born, I mean, must support when me born. So if other Montserratians can follow, then we can start see Montserrat progressing, you know. So it's just that we have to be thinking independent and know that if we don't invest in Montserrat, it cannot go nowhere. You know, it's all about investing in yourself. Invest in Montserrat. Montserrat is you. Montserrat B is you. Montserrat love you. Everywhere I went in the UK, I was telling them, hey, Montserrat just tell me that he want to see you, you know. And they say, oh, we not got nothing down there. What we go back down there for? But you didn't put nothing. So we got to start putting something here. And the government got to start opening up the lands because there's a lot of lands in place where they call it unsafe zone, which is not. You understand? And they cannot use time to kill the older generation and scatter the younger one. It's about time that our leaders look for the people of Montserrat and the land, because that's the foundation. And this is my message to all the leaders out there who are running this year in the election. You need to focus on the people of Montserrat and the island of Montserrat. How can we improve our people? How can we improve the land? How can we gather our resources and sell it to the world? It starts with us.
Absolutely. And speaking of the land, you're also heavily involved in farming here as well. So why is food security here on the island so important to you that you decided to invest in it yourself?
Well, to be started, I must say I'm a farmer from since I was a baby because my mom and dad are farmers, you know. And I think that farming is the foundation of life because we are creating with nature, we are creating life. If there's no farmer, we cannot live. So the farmer is the most important man in any country because they feed the country. So I choose farming because it was already in me. My mom and dad were farmers, so they teach me how to farm. So during 2020, when we have the pandemic, I already did my homework because I have land that I was cultivating. So when I couldn't perform, I had to go back to the land, which is foundation. That's something that I have pleasure doing. And it also makes you strong physically, mentally, and spiritually. By connecting to your source, by connecting to your foundation, that's how you build. You know, so the man that have the land have the most power because he don't have to have money. Money is not value. Money is just a representation of value. So I chase value. So I chase proper food is what really makes you live long, and positive thinking and exercise. So if we're eating processed food that we keep importing all this processed food, then our people are going to be more sick. And when they're more sick, their mind is also sick, so they cannot think properly. So I think if we go back to the land and start producing positive foods, that our people can think more positive and to be more creative, because that's how our forefathers had it before. I know when we used to go out, milk cows and take milk to the hospital, we don't have that anymore. So people are not they're eating a belly full, but they're not the body's still starving, you
Mhm.
know. So eating proper food from the land is foundation of long life, you know, and also, a great way to see your country reach food
And a
sustainability.
great way to be a contortionist.
Yeah, that's part of it too, because that's where I'm out in the sun by just doing, because cultivating is a great exercise because you're walking, moving, and you have animals that you got to go to look for. So it keeps you active. So I'm always active. It's an exercise. I see people walking every day. I say, what if they just take a hoe in their hand and start cultivating? At least they be creating, just walking, and then they walk, and then when they go home, they start eating some fried chicken.
Look, don't put us walkers, because I'm a walker too. We have to start
Yeah,
something.
but you cannot just walk. We need to start doing the little things around the yard, like gardening. But that's how we used to live before. Every house have gardening. Now everybody want to just have bush and land. So we don't live like that. We don't live like that. We lost our way. So my message is for us to go back to the land, because if we go back to the land, that's where the wealth is at. Health is wealth.
Mhm.
Eat from the land, not from the can. So if you
I
think
like
that,
that. I like that. I like that. Eat from the
yeah,
land, from the
yeah, we Montserratians used to produce so much, because listen, we don't really look into the island Montserrat. The island Montserrat is full of resource, because one of the greatest resources is water. And we have water in abundance. We have enough water that we can irrigate the whole of Montserrat and still have water left to spare. If we have that vision, by harnessing the water and giving water to the farmers so that they can produce more crops, we can become more food sustainable. But no, they're going to charge you commercial rate to put water on your farm. The government should be giving us water freely, you know, because we have so much. That's what we're supposed to be doing. They're not being creative, and they become with ambition. We need to be more ambitious as a people, as a government, because the government is not just the leaders. The government is the entire people, but we need people to lead, and the leaders need to assist the people of Montserrat to make us better so that we can make Montserrat better. Don't put so much pressure on me. Farming is not easy. In Montserrat, especially because you have so much rodents. Like you have the iguana, you have the fowl, you have the rat, you have the 2-foot rat, you have all kinds. You
and they're
have the
and
fly.
they're
So
mostly
you need you
vegetarian.
need you need some kind of subsidy so that you can ease the burden on the civilian. Because if they subsidize us much better, then we can sell the food cheaper, and you ease the burden on monsters. This is what politics is all about: is to make people's life better. But it seems like all our politicians, they make our lives even worse. So people just playing, but it's coming down from a system. So we need to get rid of the laws that keep us stagnant and keep us fighting against each other.
Mhm.
You understand? And there's some colonial laws that are happening that we need to change as leaders in Montserrat need a very ambitious chat with the government of England, because we are now British citizens and we should be treated as such. We shouldn't be no longer treated like slaves. We need to treat like British citizens so we can elevate ourselves to elevate Britain. We're not here to fight against each other. So why the oppression?
I
You
think a
see?
fundamental part of everything really is the government needs to really focus on a population strategy.
That's it. That's the
Until we
foundation.
develop a population strategy, we're going to be limited by everything. So even down to the funding that the UK provides, it can only go so far because most other islands not only have a public sector, but they have an established private sector. And without a true population, you can't really establish a private sector so that we have other revenue coming into the island. But we can talk politics and we can go further into it. But what I want to know is, one, have you retired as a yogi contortionist, not as a yoga instructor? And two, what does the future hold for Yogi Laser? Because we're coming to the end of the show now. So what does the future hold for you, and have you retired?
I'm not really retired. The only time I would retire is when I'm dead. It's different levels. in life. You know, I'm getting older now, so I want to teach and also go into farming in Montserrat. And also want to encourage people to come to Montserrat. That's my vision, is to encourage people to come to Montserrat because it's a beautiful place. And when you come here, just the energy of the island that you feel, you want to be here. You know, because Montserrat is that place. It's very sacred. You know, so the future of Yogi Laser is to continue to do what I'm doing in different levels. I would even like to even have a book written about me, something, you know. But everything is in stages and it would come. But I need the people of Montserrat support, home and abroad. You know, if they can support me in what I'm doing, and let's support each other to make Montserrat better. That's the vision I really want to tell Montserratians, and that's what I want to so encourage Montserratians to love each other. And when you love each other, you support each other. Because you can't love Montserratians and don't want to see Montserratians prosper. You know? So that's me. And farming, which I start with, that's what I want to do until the last breath. That's when I'll retire.
Fantastic. So it's been an absolute pleasure, Yogi Laser, speaking to you this afternoon. I hope that you enjoyed the conversation. I hope that our listeners got a lot from the conversation. One of the main takeaways that I have from this conversation, though, is that you have, in fact, been supported by Montserratians throughout your journey. And it was absolutely fantastic to hear about all of the different key players that contributed to your story over time. And I'm sure that the message that you were just saying there at the end, you know, that we have to rise with each other and we have to lift each other up, is very important, because had it not been for the first yoga book that you received, had it not been for Taboo supporting you, had it not been for Aussie Blue supporting you, had it not been for that Montserratian guy that you mentioned who built the first box for you, there would be no Guinness World Record. There would be no Hollywood. There would be
Montserrat. Montserrat is the first to take me to the streets.
Exactly.
I don't know if you know Montserrat, but
I've heard these names, but they might be a little bit older than I am. But the thing is, throughout your story, what really, really comes across is that you didn't get to where you were alone. And I think that's the message that we're trying to push out there. No man is an island. So we all need to work together. And this is why I have this platform, to give people like yourself a voice and to give you the opportunity to show people your stuff and to elevate you. So I hope that I've done my part through this interview. I hope that everybody who has tuned in has gained something from the conversation. And one of the points that I always like to ask people is like, contortion is a very interesting talent. Are you trying to create another contortionist before we go? How are you pulling up the next generation, or how are you passing on your talents to, you know, uplift somebody, and also to make sure that you're not the last yogi contortionist from the island?
Well, I'm already setting the foundations to do it because I start teaching here in Montserrat. So I would like people to come with the kids and I can train them, you know, because I don't want to die with this talent. I want to pass on, you know, my wisdom to people in Montserrat, and not only Montserrat, globally, you know what I mean? Because we only here for a period of the time. So if the government of Montserrat take interest and give me a job even to teach yoga in the schools, to teach mindfulness and, you know, love for the land, creating and be more creative with the land and stuff like that. That's what I want to do, you know, and encourage people to practice yoga, because yoga is a science of yourself and the universe. You connect with your source. You're connecting with life, because everybody want to take another breath, and the gift of God is life. So when you connect to life, the gift that you get is more life. Every breath that you breathe is very, very, very special, because that's your sustainer. You know, without breathing, we couldn't communicate. We're not here. It's a vibration. And everything in this whole universe is vibration. So we have to keep It's vibration flowing within us. So yoga is all about connecting with your source, connecting to life, love, and prosperity. It's a way of life and how we live. And as I said, if you eat meat, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do yoga. Anyone can do yoga, but it's just that if you're on a vegetarian diet, you elevate faster.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Because human beings by nature is not really carnivores. Our teeth don't look like a lion or a dog or a cat. They're the ones supposed to eat meat because their stomach is designed to digest it more easily and more faster. And you will find that younger people digest meat better than older people. So I would advise people who are over 35 to consume less meat for your own good of health and longevity. Because the more meat you consume, it really makes you go old faster. It's like a money make you go old fast, make you stiff. And if you don't exercise, what I mean? Because it's exercise, a positive diet, and positive thinking. These are the key elements of good life and a good well-being, of happiness. Because everyone's trying to be happy, but some foods that you eat give you a rational mind and make you depressed, and some meat make people depressed also because the way they kill the animals, like the animals have to perish before they kill them, and animals do have feelings and remorse. So when you kill an animal and it's grieving, all that depressed grieving is that vibration is in the meat. Back in the day, we used to kill animals, they take them out apart and kill them right away. But now they have them installed where they're suffering, hearing the other animal bawling out when they're killing them. So they get frightened. So all that vibration is in the meat. So it's better to go back to the old time way. But in this modern society, people want to go the fast way. So you live fast, you die fast. So it's all about understanding food, understanding health. But the key is exercise, positive food, and positive thinking. Because you you become what you think when you hold on to it. Because the mind is like an ocean, like waves of thoughts flowing in and out. Some are negative, some are positive. So if you hold on to the positive and act upon the positive, then your light would shine. People will say, wow, that man is a positive man. Look what he's doing, you know. But if you're thinking negative and you're acting negative, nobody gonna like you, you know.
Fantastic. So, Yogi, where can people find you online? Because I'm very conscious of the fact that we've gone way over time with this interview. Where can people find you online to stay connected with what you're doing with your yogi contortion, also with your fantastic villa that I've just showed, and also how can they purchase some of your food? So, where can people find you online?
People can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and you can WhatsApp me at +664 496 4656, or you can email me at yogilaser@yogilaser.com. YOGILASER at YOGILASER.com. And the number again, 1664 496 4656. All right.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Yogi, for a fantastic conversation. And for guys, thank you to all of my regulars. Shout out to all it. I see you there, my regular every single show. Thank you very much for tuning in. And for those who usually tuning to my Sunday show at 5 p.m. here on 664 on Sundays, this Sunday I'm going to have the members of the Montserrat Youth Parliament. So Yogi spoke a lot about politicians, and we are also speaking a little bit about the future of Montserrat. So who better to speak to about the future of Montserrat than from future politicians? So I'm going to be sitting down with some of the members of the current youth parliament who was sworn in earlier this year to find out their views on the island, to find out their views about the upcoming elections, And then, yeah, just to find out what their plans are for the future. So, guys, please make sure to keep it locked here on 664 Connect Media. Thank you very much for all of your support all of the time. And for those who have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go over to YouTube with the 664 Connect Media and give us some support over there as well by subscribing. But until next time, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And again, Yogi Laser, thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope that you enjoyed the interview, and I hope that, you know, someone from tourism heard the conversation and they start to push you forward as a local icon and someone who should be revered and cherished right here on our beautiful island. So thank you very much once again, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.